Alright fellas, here we're back in Pokemon Masters, and tomorrow we're going to be getting the release of Classic Elesa and Emolga. Once again, took way too long for us to get this rerun. They run initially back in December of 2021, that's when this infographic is from. Took me a little bit of digging, I found it on a Facebook post. Awesome. Again, made by Lost Mode. Yeah, made by Lost Mode, of course. I wish these were compiled somewhere so I could use them, but whatever, right? She initially ran before on December 9th of 2021, got her first ever rerun in a paid select scout during the 3rd anniversary, so September of 2022, and now she's finally getting a free rerun September of 2023. This character has taken over a year and a half to get an actual rerun for free, so glad we finally have it, right? So she's going to be releasing alongside the high score event, Electric Type Masters, the Electric Type high score event. Pretty much your goal is to just aim for 180,000 points total, I think, for all of the rewards, I believe. Yeah. And then, of course, you could also go for higher for, flexing purposes or to get the medal, whichever you choose. But we're going to see, should this Elesa be in your box? Should she be super valuable to you? Personal bias, yes, 100%. My favorite character, yes, literally. But no, not really, honestly. In terms of overall value, this character is not super valuable. Okay, she can be valuable because she does a lot of nice things, mostly debuffs. But we have another debuffer, Neo Champion Leaf, that releases earlier this year, or this month, not this year, this month, and she had debuffs better. Kind of. She debuffs 4 stats while Elesa debuffs 5, so not really too big of a difference, but the big thing with Leaf is that her debuffs are faster and they're AoE, so yeah. I would say Leaf is definitely a better debuffer, so to just leave it at that, if you want Classic Elesa, the best thing she provides is debuffs, and you can get those from Neo Champion Leaf. So go ahead, pick up Neo Champion Leaf. I definitely recommend pulling her anyway. She's definitely a great character. Probably the worst overall of the 3 Neo Champion Master Fairs, but still very good as an overall sync pair, right? Definitely a top tier character in the game. One of the best techs in the game, 100%. So yeah, there's that. Big thing that Elesa is rerunning for is the fact that, again, the electric type gear event, but she also has Pokefair tiles now, so we're going to be going over those, but first, let's go over the base kit. So, if you already know her kit, you can skip, whatever, doesn't matter, but for the people who don't know, looking at her passive skills, she has Shock Factor 9, which lowers the target's attack defense, special defense, and speed by 1 when the user's attack move is successful against a paralyzed opponent. Very easy to do because she has Nuzzle. And the way this works is that once you land Nuzzle and the enemy paralyzes, it'll also debuff them for that turn that you used Nuzzle to initially paralyze them. So you get those debuffs in right there too, which this ability obviously really good. Debuffs are amazing. They activate all of the multipliers, Pecking Order, Relentless, Cakewalk. Again, I think Brain Teaser is a multiplier. I've gotta check this. I've been saying it forever. Is Brain Teaser a multiplier? Yes, for special defense, yes, Brain Teaser is a special defensive multiplier, right? Power Play, it activates all of these nodes, right? So, or all these multipliers, so it's very massive to be able to debuff all of these stats. Pecking Order, Overpower, Brain Teaser, Cakewalk, what was it called? Chase Down is also a multiplier. There's just so many different multipliers that are activated, Hunter's Instinct, by different debuffs, so being able to debuff all these stats is an amazing ability. Single target, sure, but it's all the stats at once. And also, of course, really good for Latias, Cresselia, or any other character that has, or enemy that has Fluid Fortification. Very, very good for that, right? Passive 2, she has Entry Freebie, applies free moves next to her when she enters a battle. They pretty much formatted this to where you would either use Light Screen for your team to have more special damage reduction, so she helps out the team, or Nuzzle, so you can get that paralysis in and start debuffing. And then her final passive is Viral Hit 9, which whenever she inflicts a status condition on an opponent with one of her moves, so Nuzzle or Thundershock, it'll do it for all enemies. So once you paralyze them, it inflicts paralysis to all opponents, so you really only have to use Nuzzle once, pretty much. Except for like Legendary Arenas to where you'll have to do it, every bar, but still. Very, very good, especially for Stadium, so you can get that paralysis on all enemies, and you can just start debuffing all of them pretty much instantly with the, Shock Factor 9 here, using Thundershock. So, very, very good. She's a Tech Electric type as, duh. Looking at her stats, level 140, she's got, I think, yeah. Is this counting right stuff? Yeah, okay. Level 140, she has 705 HP, which is really good. 176 in both defenses, which is good as well, especially because she also debuffs offenses, so, you know, they'll be doing a lot less damage. 370 in both offenses. About 176 in both defenses, sorry. 176 in both defenses, 370 in both offenses. Special attack is a little low, but she makes up for it a little bit later. And then 331 speed is a relatively decent speed tier. A little bit lower of the faster Pokemon, though, because I figured Emolga would be really fast, but it's not. But still, this is not a bad speed tier at all, so that's good. Looking at her moves, of course, she's got Nuzzle, which activates the paralysis, so the Shock Factor 9 can activate. Thunder Shock is going to be used for a 1-gauge spammable whenever you're just going to be hitting opponents that are already paralyzed. You'll be able to activate Shock Factor that way, so you don't have to use Nuzzle and use up 3 gauges just to, you know, debuff some stats. You can use Thunder Shock, which is a lot better. She's got Light Screen, as previously mentioned, 3-gauge move to apply special damage reduction to the ally field of play. This can be good if you're facing a lot of special attackers, you know, reduce that special damage, potentially make it so your support doesn't take too many strong hits. Very nice. And her trainer move, Sparkle and Shine, which reduces Sync Countdown by 1, raises her special attack by 4, and special defense of all allies by 2. So, again, further reinforces her specially defensive capabilities, being able to deal with special attack for 1, and then Light Screen plus raising ally special defense by 2. It's pretty clear. Bleh. And then, obviously, to just, you know, go a little bit over the top, she's got a max move, Max Lightning, which turns the field of play into electric terrain. This move can hit pretty hard, for sure. Honestly, I've used it against a lot of legendary arenas. I've used it against stadium bosses, and having this max move is definitely very, very nice for getting some extra damage in, whenever, you know, her only damage options are her nuke as well as a 17 and 20 base power move. So, this is very, very nice for sure, 100%. And then Max Guard, yeah, sure, damage guard. You mostly won't use that, but it can probably save you in some situation. But most of the time, you'll go for Max Lightning, which will give you electric terrain, so then her nuke can hit for higher power. Speaking of her nuke, it's innate power play, so the more the target stats are lower, the greater the power of this move. Activates with 18 stats are debuffed, fully debuffed, I mean. Well, not fully debuffed, but whenever you have 18 stats debuffed, power play is fully maxed out. So there you go. That pretty much just sums up. If the enemies don't buff their stats at all, you can pretty much just use Thundershock once, or Nuzzle once, and then Thundershock twice, and you've got full power play activated, because 6 times 3, that's 18. So you get your full nuke activated there, but of course if they buff their stats, you'll have to debuff them a little bit more to get the maxed out power play. So that's overall the 1 out of 5 kit. Looking at the grid, she doesn't really have anything like Lith and some small nodes, but nothing really crazy, obviously. This is a really solid base kit for sure, and honestly, until she got her Pokefair tiles, the 3 out of 5 wasn't even that worthwhile either. So having this 1 out of 5 was really good for her. The nuke was relatively solid, innate power play isn't too bad. But what kind of annoyed me was that they started giving characters power play as well as just having other things. Like, if we look at every character that has power play, or power loving even, which that's what Rosa has, special costume Rosa, you'll see what I mean. So look at Leaf here. She does have Pokefair tiles, but still, let's see. Her nuke, target power is increased whenever it's poisoned, but look at this. She's got power play here on top of Relentless, her innate multiplier. So she's got already a lot of multipliers herself already. Yeah, Elisa's is only power play at 3 out of 5 even. Cyrus, who hasn't even gotten Pokefair tiles, and he released like 2 months later. He's got the innate of Dark Zone, and then he's got power play as well. So he's got an innate multiplier plus power play. Come on, man. He couldn't have done that. You can't do that to Elesa, really. Her only nuke source is power play, which is really annoying, but you know, it's still gonna hit for pretty solid damage, and her big thing is the utility of debuffs, so it helps out a lot of her allies. Not so much her own nuke, but other characters' nuke, like Anniversary N, where she's able to do a lot of debuffs for him. Or obviously all these other power play characters here, like Neo Champion Serena, Signasu Leaf, Oleana, Cyrus, and Darkrai. Helps out a lot of these characters, right? Even other characters that have other debuffs. Again, characters with Cakewalk, Hunter's Instinct, Overpower, Pecking Order, Brain Teaser. Help Relentless. A lot of these characters benefit from stat debuffs, and that is the biggest appeal of her. The Electric Terrain from Max Lightning is nice as well as obviously AoE Paralysis, but the big stuff from her is the debuffs and how much it helps other characters. at least at 1 out of 5. That's her big use. And I would say don't go for it because obviously if you need a debuffer, we've got Neo Champion Leaf who can debuff every stat except I think special defense or speed. It's one of those two. Either way, debuffs 4 stats, Elesa debuffs 5, not a big difference. But the big difference there is that Moltres has a lot of other things that make him good, including the innate multipliers, which are better than Elisa's, I believe, as well as having actual DPS, having potions, just a lot of other stuff that makes her better. So definitely better just to go for Neo Champion Leaf instead of Elesa here. But let's look at the grid, because the grid is where things get crazy. Again, 1 out of 5 is nothing. 2 out of 5 now has Static Shock 2 after the Pokefertile, so that's a 20% sync multiplier. Nothing crazy, so really not worth it. You also get Paralysis Synergy, which is also worth absolutely nothing, so also don't pick it up. Because your moves are not going to hit hard anyway. 21 damage and 17 damage ain't going to hit like fuck. Mad Strength on Nuzzle, also not worth anything. NPR on Light Screen, literally your best, probably your best node outside of Static Shock 2. So yeah, 2 out of 5 is not worth anything, but the 3 out of 5, obviously, this is where things get a little bit better. You get the Max Static Shock, which is a 30% power up to your sync move, or not sync move, max move for, you know, them being paralyzed, so that's good there. As well as obviously having both sync nodes here, so you get that 25 extra power on the sync move. Big whoop. Max Barricade Buddies, you can raise special defense of all allies after using Max Guard, so they really want to settle special defense buffs with her for some reason, and also Light Screen Barricade Buddies, so if you want special defense buffs, these can provide it, though you are missing out on the max lightning damage from having to use Max Guard. Other than that, Max Shielding Strikes, raising her own defense by 2 after using a max move, not worth anything. Shock Factor 1, this can be pretty solid, even though it is RNG dependent. 20% chance to have Shock Factor activate, so it's the same ability here, except it can activate again, but it's at a 20% chance. So very RNG dependent, but I've had it happen to me a few times, and it's been very, very nice. She's also got Staggering 1 on Thundershock, mostly going to be good for like a legendary arena or something where you need like a clutch flinch in order to win, or maybe reset spam in the stadium, I guess, for it, but I wouldn't recommend that. But this could be clutch in like a legendary arena or something. I'm pretty sure I have it picked up. Nuzzle Paralysis Synergy 4, not worth anything. Super Duper Effective 4, also not worth anything. Giving her DPS nodes is actually so useless because these moves are so low base power. You could give her like Paralysis Synergy 9 twice and it probably would not make the moves hit that much harder. It really wouldn't. So, not worth anything in my opinion. Only things that are worthwhile at 3 out of 5 here now are probably these abilities, and then Thundershock Staggering, but that would obviously have been if I would have not had Static Shock 2 here, so. Sadly I do, though. Sadly I do. Yeah, this is literally the best grid. So, you could also get rid of the sync node here, pick up the Staggering 1 on the Thundershock, or you can just keep the sync node, whichever you prefer. This is probably her best 3 out of 5 grid, but really, 3 out of 5 is nothing insane. If you thought that, you'd be right. This 3 out of 5 grid is nothing insane. The only power-ups are the Static Shock 3, Static Shock 2, as well as the sync power-ups here. And the Static Shock 3 here is only for the max move, so yeah. 3 out of 5 is not insane at all. 4 out of 5, also not too insane. She gets Eagle Eye 1, or Eagle Eye 9, sorry, where she can buff her crit by 1 every time her Pokemon uses a move. This makes her self-sufficient in her own buffs, so you don't have to bring a crit buffer for her. This can be very good in team compositions, where maybe you're running her with like Sigma Suit How, or you're running her with another like Electric Striker or something, like maybe Red, you know, not, Sigma Suit Thunderbolt Red, yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. Like Ash, whoever you may be running her with, like another electric damage dealer. You want her to be self-sufficient. There you go. This mostly just enables more diverse support setups, or a setup where you're using all tech/strikers, because Elesa probably could work relatively well as a tank, especially if you have her like level 150 6-star EX, over 800 HP as well as 220 in both defenses. Relatively solid for a tech in terms of tanking, as well as of course being able to debuff all enemy stats, especially both offenses. Makes her take a lot less damage, as well as being able to buff special defense, as well as apply special damage reduction. She can be a pretty solid tank, so you may not need a support if you use this Eagle Eye critical, or Eagle Eye 9 here, in order to buff her crit, so you've got a good nuke. It may work out for you, may work out. And then Max Countdown 2, reduce the sync move countdown by 2 after using a max move. Pretty solid ability. You can definitely abuse this alongside maybe Head Start 1/Adrenaline 1, as well as her trainer move sync countdown, in order to get some sync countdown shenanigans going on. I'm not sure how much I would personally abuse that, but maybe you could. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to see how I like the idea of it, because for me, mostly using the max move is like a lot later into the battle, so maybe getting her adrenaline would be a better idea if I want to abuse this ability. But I don't know if I'll be abusing the ability that much when I have another power play node. Yes, finally. For a 5 out of 5 grid tile, they gave her power play again, so now she's got the double nuke, to where her nuke is literally hitting about the same as Neo Champion Serena, but it's a decent bit easier to set up now. Finally, another sync node power up. I'm going to be doing a video over it tomorrow because I do have my Classic Elesa 5 out of 5 EX level 150, and we'll be doing a showcase over that. That's going to be so fun. I'm going to have so much fun with this. I was gambling so much when I 5 out of 5'd her during the 3rd anniversary, so I'm glad to finally have this character get a good grid expansion, or Pokefair tiles rather. I would say she is among the best Pokefair tile characters so far, maybe the best, because this is just so good. This is a great ability on top of the max sync countdown, as well as the self-sufficiency with Eagle Eye. It's also good. And she's got conductive sync as well, turning her the field of play into electric terrain whenever her sync move is used each battle. This can be good more so as a support type of thing, where you're giving other allies the chance to do better damage with electric terrain. Not so much for herself, because she doesn't extend electric terrain, meaning, you know, you don't get your electric terrain up by the time you get to your next sync move. Unless you do sync countdown, which is probably why they gave her this. So maybe you can work with that. I don't know. You'll have to, this requires a lot of grid energy, so you'll have to definitely, like, you know, think a lot before you can do that. And sadly, you can't do this. Why? Bruh. Okay. That's just fucking mean. That is just mean, dude. Are you kidding me? Why can you not get all of this? This wouldn't even be that broken. Come on, we need we need an energy update on the grid. Whatever. Either way, I don't recommend going for Classic Elesa because 1 out of 5 her big thing is debuffs. 3 out of 5 her thing is still debuffs. It's only at 5 out of 5. 5 copies of the unit. 4 candies, however you want to do the math. 5 copies of the unit you need in order to get this power play, which of course, with power play, she's good. But, like, man, that's a lot of candies. Also, having double power play nowadays, not insane anymore. It's still good. It's still 100% good. Like, we have a special costume Zinnia over here with double Rising Tide, and she's just hitting enemies with bing bang pow. She is fucking strong. But a lot of characters getting double power play. Again, Neo Champion Serena, she's got double power play. Other characters, like, as I stated, other characters who have power play are now getting other multipliers as well as having power play, right? Like, look at Neo Champion Leaf. Her innate multiplier here is power play, as well as having power play as a nuke here, or as a multiplier here. So, you know, she's already got it too. Kiawe, I'm pretty sure he has power play somewhere in here, right there. And he's got the ability to increase his sync move damage whenever the enemy is burned, as well as having interference sync. This is a variety scout unit. A variety scout unit, and he's got that. Oleana, she's also got innate power play, and she's got power play on the grid. Though I think that's like, okay, so it is 3 out of 5, that's good. Again, Neo Champion Serena, she's got power play, where is it? Right there, and on her innate. A lot of characters are getting double power play now, so I mean, you got to keep that in mind. But still, having double power play, very good when she's able to debuff all of these stats. All of these stats being able to be debuffed so much is just so good. Activating her power play so fast. It's really good. This character's amazing. Finally got a good grid expansion, and I'm going to be having a lot of fun with it. I don't recommend summoning for her because of Neo Champion Leaf being out and her being just a better character overall, even though she is a slightly, and I say slightly worse debuffer. Oh, God. But yeah, so Neo Champion Leaf, probably more valuable as a debuffer overall because of everything she can do. Just a very solid unit in general. Classic Elesa, though, still got a really good nuke at 5 out of 5. Very good unit, but would not recommend picking her up. Well, of course, unless you're a fan of Elesa, in which case, let's be best friends. I'm kidding. All right, come down. I'm not accepting friend requests. But anyway, yeah. So that's my overall recommendations when it comes to the Pokefair Classic Elesa rerun. She is going to be good for the Electric Type Masters high score event, of course, but, you know, I think most people's goal here is just to get 180,000 points, in which case I don't think Elesa is going to be the make or break for you there. So there's a relatively solid amount of electric types. We can probably make use of them. Probably not me, though. I'm probably not going to have too much fun, but whatever, it's fine. I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck against the electric type high score event tomorrow, as well as good luck on your summons for Classic Elesa if you choose to summon for them, and good luck to those using Classic Elesa with the 5 out of 5 grid. which is going to be me, Zine, and a couple other people. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed.